every day.
Welcome to Style with Trish. Today we have the amazing Dr. Jeri Godhigh, who's going to hang out with us. We're going to have a good time talking about all things women and empowering and rediscovering and reigniting. Stay tuned.
Every day a woman reigns. It's time to live your dreams. Nothing's gonna stop you now. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Every day a woman reigns. Every day a woman reigns.
Welcome to Style with Trish. Today we have an amazing guest. I have wanted this woman on my show for the longest. You know, from the time I started following you, I was introduced to you, not officially, but your platform and everything you stand for. I was like, I got to have her on the show. And I think I'm pretty good by now, guys, with character, you know, as far as being able to gel with people. And I just knew automatically I was going to be able to gel with you.
Absolutely.
I know who I'm talking to, but y'all don't. My guest today is none other than Dr. Jeri Godhigh. She is an amazing woman. One of the things, many things that I admire about you is that you are pro-woman. You are, let's get it done. We got to get this done. You are an international speaker, best-selling author, which we're going to talk about. Trauma life coach. You got to break that down for us. And you're a real estate broker. I got some questions for you on that too. But welcome to the show, y'all. Dr.
Thank you
Jeri.
so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I have been wanting to get on here as well. So secretly, you didn't know that as well.
No.
But just so, thank you so much for this opportunity. It is a true blessing.
Yeah,
Excited.
I'm so excited to have you here. We're going to try to knock this out in 30 minutes, but we might go a little longer. But we're going to try our best to stay on course.
Thank you.
One of the things, I talked about the international speaker, the best-selling author, trauma life coach. Let me start right there because I know we're going to go probably in a whole nother area of discussion, but I want to start there. What does that entail, a trauma life coach?
So a trauma life coach is basically someone that has kind of really deals with people that have trauma to some degree. A lot of times we look at trauma as something that's, you know, if maybe it was death, maybe it was some type of killing or something of that nature. But trauma is really something that has affected your life in a negative way. And so I didn't want it. Okay, let's just be real. I didn't want it. I always wanted to be just the lovely, just life coach, right? That's what I wanted to be. But as I got into being a coach and being, you know, doing the things that God had created me to do, it became evident that it was more on the trauma base, simply because I've been through so much trauma. My family, seemingly like almost the Kennedys, you know, death has been imminent in our family. And so we've gone through a lot of tragedy as it relates to death. But then when I was hit with my own trauma, with me being diagnosed with scleroderma, which is an autoimmune disease, it's a incurable disease. It can attack your skin, but it also can attack your major organs, which we do know that skin is a major organ. But it attacked my kidney. And so when my right kidney started to fail, I realized that, you know, I didn't know if I was going to live. And so it took me on this direction, this path on healing, and being able to show women that, you know, no matter what life deals you, no matter what that thorn, you know, you have on your side, you can make it. You can still make it. And even though at the time I didn't know that I could make it, God showed me through that trial and those tribulations that He had equipped me for such a time as this, so that when I come through, this trauma, that I'll be able to help other women make it. Maybe it's not through an incurable disease, but maybe it's through a failing marriage. Maybe it's through, you know, having to help your children get through something that seemingly won't make it, right? And so I just seemingly had some of those things to come my way. And then I had women that were coming to me that had trauma-based situations. And I said, well, daggone it, I must be the one. It must be the one. Yeah, I must be the one. So trauma, dealing with those things. And then, but of course, my go-to is that, if it's something that is in the past that you really need some deep healing from, then I send them to therapy.
Okay.
But if it's some things that they want to help move towards, like their goals and aspirations of things of that nature, then we can take, do it from there. We can do some life coaching to help them get from trauma to
freedom,
to victory, to everything that they want to live, and how to walk in it and not be fulfilled. Sometimes people think that I need to have all of this removed before I can do that.
Right.
No, I say in it, do it, right? Because it takes you going through those motions and going through that trauma to get you to where you need to be, because that's your audience. Those are the people that are waiting for you. Those that are going through, that need someone else that have been through what you're going through to actually help you succeed in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. We talk about life coaches all the time. I just didn't know the difference and how you broke it down. There are different levels and layers to trauma.
Yes.
And what may be traumatic for me may not be traumatic for you. So I may have experienced some trauma and not necessarily need a doctor,
right,
but I need some guidance and I need some help, and that's where your services would come
right.
into
Absolutely.
play. Absolutely. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yes.
Now we're going to talk about your book probably here in a few, but you're also a real estate broker. How are you able to balance all this? Because you're a speaker, an author, a coach, and a broker. How are you able to balance all of that? And keep going, girl, because I know your schedule is crazy. But how do you do it?
It's by the grace of God.
Yeah.
It's by the grace of God. And one of the things that I said I was going to do is to really do a day in the life with Dr. Jeri Godhigh, because people don't understand sometimes what it takes for you just to get out the bed. And some days are better than others because I have a disease. It takes a lot for me to get moving, right? Because my body is going through whatever it's going through. And so I take prednisone every day. I've been taking it since 2009, which is not necessarily a good thing, but it's one of those false things that make you feel like, I can conquer the world.
Right.
But it's only through the grace of God that I'm able to do it, and then have help. Right. And be able to lean on your help, because you cannot do it all. I tried to be the Proverbs 31 woman where you take care of the house, you take care of the kids, the husband, the work, the book, the this, that, and the other, and you can't do it all. And so you really do need a team of people that you can trust and that you can depend. I'm one of those people that are go-getters, and I feel like if it needs to be done, I'll do it.
Get it done.
Right? But I had to learn that you cannot do it. You have to train others to help you in the areas that you need help in. I'm not always so good at that. Like, I really just want to just get it done myself. And so, but really relying on other people to help you get there. That's the only way you can do it, and not fall down flat. And I've done that too. Okay.
But I know we went to your event, which we're going to talk about after this next break. But you really, really acknowledge your daughter and the way that she supports you. And I love that. I have a daughter myself, and I'm hoping that I can be that type of example, or I'm that example to her as you are with your daughter. But she's partnered with you, and she works with you and covers you, I'm sure, in a lot of areas.
She does. And she tells me what to do too.
Oh, I'm sure. You need that. My daughter tells me, Mommy, sometimes I'm the mommy and you're the child.
Right.
And sometimes we need that.
And sometimes we need that. Sometimes it's comforting. I had two of the ladies there that was at the event, and they said the same thing. Even Monica Kaufman said the same thing. I have one of those too. The one of those daughters that tell you what to do. And sometimes you enjoy that because you need that. But my daughter's a blessing. I had her at 19 years old. Had no idea of what I was doing. We grew up together. But it was a blessing. And I'm super excited about that. We do have a ministry called Jeri and Jamia Unfiltered, where we help mothers and daughters develop relationships, and how to be, how to walk in true mother and daughter relationships.
Okay, hold that thought. We're going to take a really quick break. I definitely want to expound on that after the break, because we're going to also talk about the Rediscover event. I know I'm not saying the whole name, but we'll be right back. Welcome to Trish's Treasures. This is where I share some of my favorite beloved products that I use on myself with you. Welcome to Trish's Treasures. The item for today is Made by Tasha LaRae, which is also titled Tasha Made It. hashtag. But she is a jewelry designer, and I have been a customer of hers for many, many years. A lot of pieces that you've seen me wear here on Style with Trish have been designed by Tasha. As a matter of fact, the pair that I'm wearing right now is one of her designs. But she has an amazing look, an amazing aesthetic to her design. And I just like things that are really different that you can't find in every store. She uses a lot of real leather in her aesthetic, as you see this beautiful, yummy green here that looks leaf-like. And if you know me, I'm a lover of leaf in earrings, especially. Here's another pair that is white. We have the brown. See, y'all, I'm sharing all my lovely lovelies with you guys, and the burgundy. And they come in different sizes. I really love this with the snake skin. They're really earthy designs. And Tasha has definitely a unique look, a unique feel, and you will absolutely love her product. She is available on Etsy, so make sure you check her out. This is definitely a Trish's treasure.
Have you ever thought about having your own talk show? Well, you don't have to question yourself any further. From concept to completion, Mark Squared Studios can easily take you through a traditional 3-step process for any video production. Whether it's a small business commercial, talk show, cooking show, or even a web miniseries. Contact us today and we'll help you unbox your creativity.
Every day a woman ran.
Welcome back to Style with Trish. We're continuing our conversation with Dr. Jeri Godhigh. Before the break, you were sharing that you and your daughter have an organization. Can you finish that thought?
Yeah, and so it's called Jeri and Jamia Unfiltered. It was birthed out of the premise of helping mothers and daughters develop better relationships. And my daughter and I grew up together. Like I said, I was 19, and I didn't always get it right? Because I was growing and she was growing at the same time, so we missed some things. And so we developed this ministry, this organization to help mothers and daughters be successful with their relationships. And what we found, though, Trish, was that a lot of women don't have great relationships with their mother. And we believe that the premise of a lot of your relationships on how you develop a relationship with other people start with your parenting, with your mom. How do you treat your mom? How do you react with your mom? How do you feel about your mom? Is really how you treat other people as well.
What do you think is the biggest, or what you may have found in your research and the work that you guys do, what do you think some of the major reasons that mothers and daughters kind of bump? Now, my mom is like one of my best friends, but I have people who really struggle with their relationship with their mom. Have you experienced any one dynamic or most popular dynamic that causes that friction?
Not necessarily, but I will say that it does start with how their mom was raised. Because, what we found is that it is a generational thing. It's a generational blessing or curse. And you can't give something to somebody else that you don't have until you recognize that you don't have it. And then you seek to get help so that you can be able to give that to your children, right? Because with my mom, she was the 12th child. And so she was the baby, and her mother had her at 45, when her mother was 45 years old. And so basically she was raised from her sisters and brothers. And so even though she loved me and she did love me, but she didn't know how to show the love because she didn't get that kind of love. Thinking about back then, they were all on the farm and all those great things. They didn't have time to do all this, loving and hugging and kissing all the time. But so it was very hard for her to show that love as well. But when we learn about how our parents were raised, we give them grace. And because of that grace, then we can then learn how we are to do it for our children. And so then we can then change the cycle to make it better.
And I think you said that when you know your mother's story, it makes it easier to give grace.
Absolutely.
And so people say all the time, my parent wasn't perfect. My mama was perfect. She was perfect for me.
That's right.
She was perfect for me. And so I love that topic. I could spend all day on that. But a lot of the other organizations that you're the founder and CEO of the Godhigh Agency, the Godhigh and Associates Realty Company, and Josie's Girls lead nonprofit. You're doing a lot.
Bless God.
But break down, because you were sharing a little story off camera about Josie's Girls Lead nonprofit. Share that.
Yeah. So, one of the things that I believe in, Trish, is leaving a legacy for your family. Not just tangible. I think that's also, great. You should leave tangible things, but also what you leave, spiritually, emotionally, physically, those things that your children and grandchildren will remember of you. I want them to look at the picture on the wall that says, my Mimi did this, and wow, I'm so great that she lived, right? Because some of the things that, even we just came back from Washington, D.C., and I had a chance to have my grandkids go on the White House lawn for the July 4th celebration. And so that's something that they can say, oh, Mimi put this together, and we had a great time. We were able to be on the White House lawn, and we partied together, right? Just some of the things that, and
Good
that
time.
Wasn't money necessarily, right? But it was just the legacy that you leave for them. But God High Agency is where we do great work with, management of consulting work, real estate. We talked about the real estate piece of it. But then Josie Girls Lead is my mom. Her name was Josephine, and they called her Josie. And I believe that there was a lot of dreams that my mom had that she didn't get a chance to fulfill. And so I'm not necessarily walking on her shoulders. Some people say they stand on the shoulders of somebody else. But I believe that I'm standing in the path and the way to help fulfill the dreams that she didn't have, and then those dreams that I have, so that I'm able to open up doors for my daughter and my granddaughter to then walk in lightly, that they don't have to struggle and and scuffle on how to get there, but that they have some tangible things that will allow them to be able to do those things. And so the nonprofit, pieces of it, that we're going to do a debutante ball. We're going to open up doors for young girls to be able to walk in, different paths that they didn't have an opportunity to do. I thought, I'm a Gen Xer, so I'm thinking I'm an old woman, but I have a lot of millennials that come to me for help, and Gen Zers. And I'm like, why, God? Why do you have me, doing that? He says, because I want you to lead the way. And so I said, okay, Josie Girls Lead, because I am Josie, Josie's girl, one of them anyway. So super excited about
I love it. We have, and I think that's where we connect in, because the head of all of the things that I do is Jan's Joy Ministries. Oh, wow. And Jan is my mom, and it was always her joy to see her girls operating in their ministries. And so we titled it all. So all of my mom's girls fall under Jan's Joy Ministries. Wonderful. And for the same reason, my mom was into fashion. She made clothes. She was a seamstress, and I want her to do fashion show. Mom wants you to do all of this stuff. But she didn't want to do it, even though it was something she wanted to do when she was younger. Now she has no desire for that. And so what you were saying as far as walking out you're walking out the vision your mom was given. Yes, and so I believe that's what I'm doing as well. That's what we got in common, girl.
Yes.
But we want to touch real quick before our next break. I got to talk about Rediscover, Reignite Her Summit, because sister, you put your foot in that.
Amen. That was
how did the whole vision of that begin?
It's really funny, because I was not one to necessarily want to host my own event, but under the leadership of a coach that I had, she said, now this is what I want you to do. When you come to Arizona and speak, I want you to come there promoting your event. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what event, okay. And so I just said, God, I don't know what she wants me to do, but okay, you show me the way. And so I had an illustrator come up with something for Rediscover, Reignite Her, and he gave this great logo. And I was like, okay, that's what I'm doing.
That's it.
All right. And then it just kind of evolved from there. I put it on hold. I'm like, no, I'm not ready. Yeah. And then Miss Thurman, she actually says, okay, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. And then it was pushed from there.
Good. Yeah, excellent. So. We're gonna expound on that a little bit more in our next segment. We will be right back with Dr. Jeri Godhigh. Stay tuned.
Thank you.
Hi guys, it's Dr. Cassandra Parks Evans, affectionately known as Dr. San, and this is your segment of Let's Learn Love. As you know, I am Dr. San, and I am here to give you some basic tips and things that we can do to strengthen ourselves when it comes to menopause and sexual health, okay? So today we're talking about lubrication. Yes, lubrication is very important when it comes to sexual health. It's important anyway when it comes to health, but especially when it comes to sexual health, because dryness is one of the main things that can happen during menopause. So what can we do to help counteract that? One, we can also do things like make sure we have our proper water intake. That is very important. Two, you may want to go see a specialist. Maybe they can give you something for your hormones to help balance your hormones, and make sure that you're on a healthy path as far as your diet and your stress level. Another thing that we can do is eat more holistically. That is very important as well. So you may want to do some natural herbs and different foods that may come from health food stores, different supplements and vitamins. But as always with those, you want to make sure that you go to a specialist and or your healthcare provider to make sure that it's okay with the things that are going on in your life. That can be, with your medication, any other pre-existing conditions that you may have, and just overall, it's good to get a second opinion on that. Something else that you can do is make sure that you're lubricated with lube. Yes, lube. That brand that we have had back in the past, you can use that, but there are plenty more other options that you may have. Some even have enhancements in it to help with sensitivity, coldness, warmness, whatever that you may be interested in. They can specify to your body type something that you may be interested in. So remember, lubrication is always your friend when it comes to sexual health and menopause, and let's find out ways that we can do to counteract dryness, okay? So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to contact us. We would love to hear from you. And until then, this is Dr. Sam with your Let's Learn Love segment for today.
Welcome back to Style with Trish. We're continuing our conversation with Dr. Jeri. Before the break, we talked about Rediscover Her, Reignite, and the whole vision behind that. I had the pleasure of being there. Wasn't able to stay for the whole entire event because I was sick. Mm-hmm. But when I tell you, I received so much just from the little time that I was there. Now you had your keynote speakers, and then you also had other people. Just share the whole experience from that weekend, because it was a weekend affair, right?
It was. So it started Friday night with the launching of our new book called Who's Sleeping With Your Husband 2, TOO. And so we did the launch of that. And then that Saturday is when we actually did the conference in and of itself. And so we had 5 speakers. They all came in from different places. One even came in from Turks and Caicos, and so it made us international. So I was so excited for her making us global. But it was just really phenomenal to see it come to fruition, because there was a lot of women that I didn't even know that God brought into the circle to make this a success. And so we were so excited because we had great speakers from Houston, from Dallas, Maryland, all over Florida. And so it was super fantastic. And then to have Monica Kaufman, I was talking to my daughter, we're from Maryland, DC, but we've been in Atlanta area since 30 something years. And so to have her be a part of something that, we used to watch her on the news,
classic.
It's classic.
Yes.
I'm like, oh my gosh. And so to have her there and so excited for it. And afterwards she thanked us so very much. And then to have Kim Fields there to, we grew up with her on TV. And so just the opportunity to be able to present her with the President's Lifetime Achievement Award
that she cried about
was a blessing. And then to have the DeKalb County wife CEO Zola Thurman there was a blessing. And so it was just phenomenal. But I believe that every woman that was there was blessed simply because they received something. And not only did they receive something, they gave something. And so we were able to have the Girl Talk panel, which was phenomenal, where we talked about, women and marriage and sex that, we don't talk about because not enough, and how important it is to go from your parents' household to a marriage household. And so just super excited about that. And it was just a blessing. the key was to have the good team in place, right? The right people in place to help you pull off something of that magnitude. And I still didn't know what the magnitude was. Honestly, I'm like, and everybody, weren't you happy? Weren't you glad? Did you glad? I'm like, I don't even know.
You're so tired.
I was so tired and so numb. But it was an honor and a blessing to be able to be there. And so many people called and said, you know, that event blessed me. Just the fact that, you know, the title in itself, Rediscover, is to rediscover who you are, and then to reignite, meaning to ignite that fire in you again, right? Anything that's is we're doing it over again. And so being able to really pour into women to live life their way. And that's what the book is about, living life your way and on your own terms, being who God called you to be, being your true, authentic self, walking out in freedom. Because if you're not, who else are you being, right? And then you're miserable. But to really fully live out your life. And then I'll tell you something at the end that really is important, because if you don't, what were you here for anyway?
To begin
with. So I'm gonna stop there, but I was super excited about it.
It's all, life is about a journey, and it's not just a journey that you travel just paying bills and going to work. It's deeper than that. I know you're going to touch on that. But I love the title of the books. So you were sharing on the break that Who's Sleeping with Your Husband 2 is a compilation of other authors, which kind of sort of ignited the conference. But it comes after Who's Sleeping with Your Husband, which was a soul project for you. How did this project begin?
Well, so it started 10 years ago, and I had no idea that it was something of a movement that God was going to place in my life. It started with really about the fruits of the spirit of the woman. I did it in a seminar and a webinar at church. And so when I did it, I thought, okay, over with, done, right? But no, God said I wanted to go deeper. It wasn't just about the fruits of the spirit, but who are you really? So it's not necessarily about someone sleeping with your husband, although those are some things in there about, you know, for real women dealing with, you know, their husbands, you know, infidelity. But it also is really about who are you at the end of the day, and what type of lifestyle are you living? Are you really living out your true self? Are you still living an imposter lifestyle? And that's where the first book came from, because I was living the imposter lifestyle. I was acting as if I was something that I really wasn't, to keep a front, right, for somebody else. But once I became free to really be who I was called to be, it did cause some rift in my marriage, because everybody don't like change. No, change is a little hard sometimes. But that's where book 1 came from. And then book 2 is where God said there are other women that have a story too, to share about, you know, their life and their, you know, their trials, and then their things that they overcame, and how to help other women be that woman of God that they were called and created to be. And so that was book 2.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Like I said, I only caught the toward the end, but one of the things that I loved about Kim Fields and what she was, first of all, she's so deep. But one of the things that I liked that she spoke about was, it was a lot of self-awareness, you know, and in order to rediscover, you would have had to discover. In order to reignite, at one point you were ignited. And so going back to that space mindset of where you first discovered, where you first ignited, now you're returning back to rediscover and reignite, and it's
and make it better.
And make it better and continue and continue.
And you know what she said also? She said, reinvent.
Yes, she did. She did.
So I was like, oh, I missed that one, but okay. Reinvent yourself, because sometimes we have to do that to make it better, right? Because sometimes people get comfortable in who you really are and what you were doing at one point, but now you're reinventing yourself. You're making it brand new.
And that comes with growth.
Yes.
It comes with growth. But yeah, you have some events that are coming up. I want you to share that. And then we're going to roll out with you encouraging and inspiring our women, our viewers, in whatever area that they're trying to pursue. But please share your upcoming events, because you got a lot.
Ooh. Well, I'll just share a couple then. Okay. The first one, though, is that we're getting ready to we're getting ready to launch out Who's Sleeping with Your Wife.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's a book for men to share their stories on who they are, right, and their relationship and their marriage. And so so super excited about that because I've got some, I have a sports person, sport football player. I'm going to do a minister, a businessman, and just regular everyday men that want to share their story and who they are behind the woman, right?
Right.
And so super excited about that. And then we have Who's Sleeping With Your Husband Masquerade Ball. That's in October. And so it's going to be wonderful, right? Because we're going to have, what do you call those things where you have, gosh, I can't even think of it, but you do all kinds of things, but it's going to be a masquerade ball. And so it's for our foundation.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say. But then most importantly, we're going to continue our Girl Talk panel where we talk about from the boardroom to the bedroom, when we talk about sexual healing in your marriage and in your life, because it's not just about Mr. being satisfied, right? It's about what you want and what's important to you and what makes you happy.
Right.
And so we'll have that coming up in September, at the end of September. And so we got that panel coming up along with, we're going to have a small audience because it is going to be broadcast on TV as well. And so super excited about that.
Yes, you got a lot of work coming. But that it's a blessed thing in that. And one of the things we talked about off set is you're busy right now, but your rest season is coming.
Amen.
So be obedient to that rest season. Trust me.
Yes.
But if you will look into the camera and really talk and pour into a woman who is really struggling or maybe struggling or just needs some guidance.
Yes. I forgot to say, though, we do have a book signing here in Atlanta on July 21st at Barnes & Noble. So super excited about that.
Okay.
But what I would like to leave, if you will, is that it's my destiny and my goal to let women know that it's up to you to do the very things that God has called you to do. It's important for you to do that, because what a tragedy it would be for you to have lived your entire life and not have done the very thing that God created you to do. You know that thing that, when God said, let Trish be born, let Jeri be born, and he put you into your mother's womb. He had a destiny and a plan for your life. And what a tragedy it would be for you to not have done the very things that he created you and birthed you to do. For you to have lived your whole entire life and leave this world and not have fulfilled the call that God had on your life. And so no matter what you're going through today, we all have a story. We all have tragedy, traumas, and things that we stumble through throughout the day. But I challenge you and encourage you to do it anyway.
Yes.
Do it scared, do it bold, do it hurting, do it sad, do it through, joy. Whatever you have to do it, because it's important that you do the very things that you were even born and created to do. Les Brown said to live life full and die empty. So I challenge you today to do it, even if you don't know what it is, keep doing something until you stumble up on that thing that God created you to do. Because what a tragedy it would be for you to leave this earth and not have done the very things he created you to do. Why? Because your life matters. I encourage you today. You got it. You can do it. It's up to you, right?
Make that first step.
Amen. Amen.
Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me, guys.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. But thank you so much for hanging out with me. More to come with Dr. Jeri Godhigh. We're going to connect, even beyond this and stay connected. And so I will support you in whatever it is that you're doing. But congratulations on the book signing, on all of the success. Congratulations. We'll be right back with Dr. Jeri Godhigh.
Thank you.
I'm often asked the question, why the title Style with Trish? And to answer that question is very simple. For me, style isn't just what's on the outer appearance of a woman. It is what is on the inside, which is actually more important. And so what we want to do and how we want to incorporate that into our show is that we excitedly bring on guests who feed into the building of self-esteem, as far as mental health and improving yourself, self-help. We bring guests on and experts on to actually help us build those areas, increase those areas to make us a better us on the inside. Once we're built healthily on the inside, then we can start rocking out the outer look.
outer look is the easiest part to redo, to fix. The inner is what's the most difficult. So style isn't just what's on the outside. It actually starts with what you possess on the inside.
Hey guys, this is Trish Standley. Catch up on season 1 of Style with Trish by going to trishstanley.com. If you are not able to catch the show on YouTube, make sure you go to my website, trishstanley.com, and check out our podcast.
Have you ever thought about having your own talk show? Well, you don't have to question yourself any further. From concept to completion, Mark Squared Studios can easily take you through a traditional 3-step process for any video production. Whether it's a small business commercial, talk show, cooking show, or even a web miniseries. Contact us today and we'll help you unbox your creativity.
I'd like to thank my guest, Dr. Jeri, for coming and hanging out with us. She's an amazing person, as you can tell, just very down to earth, very authentic. If you are going through anything traumatic in your life and you think it's time to just kind of sit down and kind of decide, do I need professional help or can I get a coach that can kind of help guide me? She is your person. She is the one that you should reach out. It's time for healing. It's a season of healing. So whomever and however you are able to find the freedom of healing, make sure you reach out. But she's definitely an avenue that you can go through as a trauma life coach. She's also an author. Make sure you check out her books, upcoming events that she has. I always say this, anyone who can support, who can love, who can uplift you, you need to have them as a part of your life to help expand and inspire you to go whatever journey it is that you have and what path that you're on. So make sure you follow Dr. Jeri on social media. Thank you guys. As always, I will not leave here without saying, love isn't love unless you give it away. Give some love away today. Thanks guys for tuning in.